Hey everybody! One of the things that I like to do at the very beginning of the school year is to set big goals. And these goals are both for our class and for us individually. So we're going to start by setting our individual big goals. And I'm going to explain why in the next slide. But I just want you to think about now where you've been as a math student in 6th grade and where you'd like to go as a math student in 7th grade. Okay, here we go. I've run a couple of 5Ks and a couple of 10Ks and one half marathon in my whole life. And I know that running a race wouldn't be any fun at all if I didn't know how far the race was going to go or where the finish line was. And so when you think about that, that's why big goals are such a big deal in class and as a scholar, so that we always have something that we're working towards as math students. And it's something bigger than a PSSA score or a grade. It's really about getting you ready for 8th grade and for getting you ready to be a member of the Carlisle and global community. To be able to set big goals, we have to really first reflect on who we are as math students. So for a few seconds, I want you to start thinking about your 6th grade math experience. Now, I encourage you to set goals for all of your classes this year, but for us, we're just going to focus on math. What you'll need for this exercise is just a scratch sheet of paper and a pencil and just your memories. All right, the first place that we're going to start reflecting is thinking back on our grades in 6th grade math. Okay, if you can remember them, write down your report card grades, but also think about your scores on homework or tests. Think about your study island experience and just thinking about who you were as a student as described by your grades. Now, this might mean that you need to take a second and pause and look back at Power School if you're able to, or dig up your old report cards, whatever you need to do. But you want to be as specific as possible because that helps you in the future think about your goals. So take a few seconds, write down on that scratch sheet of paper your report card grades and the other grades that you remember earning last year in 6th grade math, and then we'll get started completing our reflection. So, one of the things that we know without a shadow of a doubt that affects our grades are our effort and work ethic. So, effort means how much energy you put into your work. And work ethic is kind of like that value that says hard work will lead to success. So, I want you to think back to 6th grade, take a second, pause the video, and think about your effort and work ethic in 6th grade math. You're going to write down that reflection on your scratch sheet of paper. Now, it's been a while since we've been in school, and so you may be struggling to think about how to describe your effort and work ethic. And so on this slide, you'll see a couple of sentence starters. So things like, I tried really hard and I put forth my best effort, or on the other side of that, I gave up really easily. So think about how much effort you put into 6th grade math. So, effort and work ethic definitely affect our grades, but so does our behavior. And behavior is kind of tricky because not only does it affect your individual grade, but your behavior can sometimes affect other people's grades as well. And I'm not talking about just poor behavior. Awesome behavior means you can lift up other people's grades too if you're an awesome group member. So, as you're thinking about your behavior last year, think about the good parts and think about the not so good parts. Okay, so there are some sentence starters on this slide as well if you have trouble thinking about what your behavior looked like last year. So you might be the person that says, I received lots of positive rewards and praise. Or you could be the person that said, I made some poor choices, but I also learned from them. So think back to your 6th grade behavior in math, take a few seconds, write down your reflection, and then move on. We are all unique people, right? So sometimes there are things that are outside of effort and work ethic and behavior that can affect our grades for good and for bad. So one of the good things that might have affected your grades last year, maybe your mom or dad or family decided to get a tutor, or maybe you were part of a homework group. Okay, and some other things that might hurt your grades and how you performed in sixth grade math might have been I was absent a lot, or I spent a lot of time at the nurse. And then you all are a really unique set of students in that you spent the fourth 9 weeks working online. So another reflection here might be, I just really hated online learning. Or I spent a lot of my time taking care of my siblings and didn't really get to learn a whole lot in the fourth marking period. Okay, so take a few seconds, think back to sixth grade and any other reflections that you think are important as you work towards setting a goal for this year, and write them down on your scratch sheet of paper. Okay, so now I want you to brag about yourself. I want you to think about all the things that you were proud of in sixth grade math. Okay, don't be shy. Write them down. Sometimes it's easier to point out the things that are wrong than point out the things that are don't going really, really well, right? So like if you made honor roll all 4 marking periods, or if you earned all of your blue ribbons for Study Island before the fourth marking period started, write those things down. Give yourself some credit for the hard work you put in math last year in sixth grade. Make sure you write those down on your scratch piece of paper. Pause the video while you get that down, and we'll be back in a second. So now that we've bragged about ourselves and given ourselves shout outs for all the great things that we did last year, let's also think about some things that we might want to do differently this year in seventh grade. So some of those things are in yellow, and this may make sense for you, or you might have something completely different. But I want you to really think about and reflect on sixth grade last year and write down some things that you would like to do differently or better or improve upon this year in seventh grade math. Maybe it is the number of write-ups, or maybe it's how much you participated. Maybe you were super quiet last year and you just want to be able to be brave and courageous and raise your hand more often. Whatever makes sense for you, write it down. Okay, setting personal goals is not an easy or fast process. So we have accomplished our first step toward writing our big goals for this year just by reflecting and writing down our answers. Okay, so now that you have those answers jotted down on some scratch piece of paper, I want you to follow the link in our assignment page to the OneNote. Find your specific OneNote page and go ahead and fill in the answers to the reflection questions. I'm only going to read these for completion. I'm not providing any comments or feedback. I just want to make sure that you're participating.